welcome back, YouTube friends, for another shenanigans-filled Skull and Bones video. So today, if you are like me and you are trying to plow through upgrading your favorite ship, you're probably running into some materials issues, right? And in particular, at the higher level upgrades, there is one that is a little bit frustrating to find, and that's called the Sinew string. I'm not if I'm saying that right. But you can see it up here in the top right for under requirements, right? So the Sandbook, this is my favorite ship at the moment, right? This is my monstrous fire build DPS ship. And we need more Sinew string, Orca's mechanisms. That's fine. You can get those from doing the rogue hunts for the helm, or if you've got a decent farming situation going for pieces of 8, you can buy them from the black market. But if you did not know, you can actually go in here when you're in the upgrade view. You can hold Y if you're on a console, Xbox, or otherwise whatever the preview button is, and see what the subsequent upgrades get you for each ship. So it took me a hot minute to realize that this was there. I was like, I don't understand what I get next, So in here, so ultimately with the Sandbook, which is the one we're looking at, more hull health, more cargo, better speed, and then an increase in level, and then at the very end is faster reload for fire weapons. I do want to make a call out. So if you're not familiar with the codex, this is super helpful. Just very quick, I'll show you. But basically any weapons, blueprints, items, materials, whatever in here, if you don't know where to get it, go into the codex and just find it in here, right? They're all categorized fairly well, and then click track on it, and then when you go back out to the map view, you will see where you can get it, right? So for the Sinew string, if I'm saying that correctly, is the only place to get it. It shows this the Clan of Fair capital settlement in the middle of the Red Isle here. I have seen it drop from some of the Season 2 bosses as well, but if you want consistency, that is the place to go. If anyone has better information for me, please let me know in the comments. There are a couple other materials too that I'd like to call out that are a little bit more challenging to get. So magnetite ingot, this one here for this upgrade for the bark, as well as the Russell cloth and even the, I think it's the green heart wood as well. Those are ones you can't buy them from the black market. So Roselle cloth, magnetite ingot you can get, and green heart planks you can get from Saint Emile. Also the Slumber Yard here has more of the green heart planks. And then the capital settlement up here also sells Roselle cloth and magnetite ingot. So what I do if I need more of those, since you can't buy them from the black market, I didn't stock up from last season from excess pieces of 8, right? So you gotta go, so I'll go to those 3 places, I'll buy them out, and then I'll also plunder them, and that's kind of the best way to farm those materials, right? Those 3 items. So buy first, plunder, and then sometimes you can check and see if the clock has ticked enough. Buy them again if you can, right? These exotic materials, obviously you can buy for 1,500 pieces of 8, so you can buy these, but like I said, you can get these from doing the rogue hunts for the helm. But then regular materials, so there's no magnetite in here, there's no the Russell cloth or fiber, and there's no green heartwood, right? So you have to go to those locations to get those. So just heads up there if you're struggling to find those. But the way to do this for the Sinew string is, you can see we are waiting for a cooldown, so I have actually already done this, and I have no idea who these people are that are with me in my group, right? So what I was doing was I was sitting here waiting for the cooldown, and actually I even tried like logging out and logging back in, and that works too. That resets. I don't know if it's dependent on if you get in a new server or not, but it was resetting the cooldown, so I didn't have to wait for the cooldown. But I don't know if the server didn't like it or the game didn't like it. Like a couple of times it didn't let me back in, and I had to relaunch the game. It didn't, something out there didn't like me signing out and signing back in to try and speed up this process. But what's still better is adding people to your group, and then doing the plunder. They don't even have to be here also plundering it, just having someone with you. But these guys, I noticed they were doing the exact same thing as me. They were coming here to plunder this because they're probably trying to farm the exact same item. They're probably wanting some more Sinew string as well. And so I literally just like used my periscope, looked in at them, and hit the invite to group button, because you get increased drop rates for items when you're in groups. So, and then this just fell right into place. Like, I'm somewhat of an introvert. I don't like joining random people and talking to random people. I'm not chatting with them or anything. Like, I literally just saw them here, invited them to my group because it helps, right? So so keep an eye out when we go through each phase here. When you're doing this by yourself, when you're not in a group, like, it's fine. That way still works as well. But you would get, I think you're only guaranteed one Sinew string per plunder. There's, I think on the 3rd or 4th stage, there's a chance you can get one, and then you're guaranteed the one at the end. So at most you would get 2 doing this by yourself. But here we're doing it with 2 other people in our group. I don't even know if you need 2 other people. You may only need 1 other person to get the increased loot drops, but regardless, yeah, use the call for help on the fort and see if anybody comes over, and if they do, then just invite them to group and see it, because then you can just sit here and farm it, right? Do the plunder, wait for the cooldown, do it again. That seems way more efficient and better than trying to sign out, sign back in anyway, because when you do it in a group, you're getting up to 4 of these items each time you plunder, as opposed to 1/maybe 2, right? So when I've been in the group, you'll see here, I think it's on this drop here that's coming up. I'll get 2 Sinew string here, and then I'll get another 2 at the end for the plunder, so we'll get 4. I think there was a couple of times I did this where this middle stage, or the 3rd or 4th stage here, where I only got 1, but you can see it here, we're getting 2 this round, and then we'll get another 2 at the end. So I think for this one, I did have it once where it only gave me 1. But then I've always been getting 2 at the very end, just by being in a group with strangers. I have no idea who these guys are. Just randomly invited them because they were over here, right? So special thanks to these guys that joined my group. If you're out there, thank you. Thank you for this fun demo, right? So, but what even happened too is, like, these guys were they're doing the same thing I am. They're even in sandbooks, so they're in the same ship, right? They literally sat by one of the towers, and we each took out our tower that we were closest to when the plunder started, and so that made that go faster. And then I sat here and guarded just in case anybody came through this way. But as you can see here, we're getting another 2 Sinew strings, right? Yeah, so I took out any ships that came this way, and the other guys took out the ships where most of the ships spawned from the other directions, right? So, and it's usually 1 ship, and so you're literally just killing that 1 ship, which takes a half a second, especially with 3 people here, and then you're waiting for the next one to come, and so on, right? So, yes, alas, this is what I recommend doing: going to the map view while you're over here, and holding X to do the call for help, right? Just call for help, do the plunder by yourself, and then if other people show up, you can also do the call for help by using your scope, by using your periscope, or whatever you want to call this, right? And your spyglass, that's the word, right? And holding next to, call for help there too. But that's what I've been doing. I call for help here, and I do the plunder up by myself. If anybody shows up, I invite them to the group, and then they sit there and do the plunder with me. So that to me has what has been worked the best as far as farming the Sinew string, right? So highly recommend. It's been great for me thus far. I am almost to the final state. I've almost got enough to upgrade my sandbook to the level 6 upgrades, right? And then we will be just rocking, right? So really do appreciate everybody who has watched. If you enjoy this type of content, this type of assistance, push the like button, please. Make sure you're subscribed. I've got more Skull and Bones videos on the way. Stay tuned. Until next time, thanks again.